Hello, everybody. Today I'm honored to have Missy MacKintosh on the show with me today. Missy is an internationally acclaimed Canadian makeup artist with over 15 years of experience. Her work has been featured in Cosmopolitan, The Huffington Post, and Daily Mail. And if that isn't enough, Missy is also the founder and CEO of the award-winning Pro Clean makeup line, Mismack Clean Cosmetics. Welcome, Missy. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
I'm glad. As you know, we're here to talk about the messy middle. I wanted to start this for people who are along their journey, who are working towards big goals or starting their own business. And quite often we get stuck in the middle with setbacks or perhaps failures. So as a CEO of a clean cosmetics line, I'm really curious to know about your journey and where maybe you got stuck along the way.
Yeah, so as you said, I've been a makeup artist for over 15 years, and I have a very strong background in makeup forever. I used to work for them, and I've done their training at the academy in Paris for airbrushing. And when I kind of got into clean beauty, I realized that there wasn't anything out there that really held up to my standards and allowed me to really create magic that was clean. So I took matters into my own hands and created the first Clean Pro line. Was it easy? Absolutely, absolutely not. I'm from a small town in Salmon Arm, the small town Salmon Arm in the interior, and it was always in the back of my head that I wanted to have my own cosmetics company, but who does that? Like my mom growing up did Mary Kay when I was 14, and I thought I was gonna have a pink Cadillac, and that was gonna be my dream. And then I found out I could go to school and become a makeup artist, and that was the path leading me. And I remember going to conference in Toronto and seeing like about Mary Kay and all of that, and really like I don't want to like work for her. I want to be here. I want to be the person formulating. I want to be the one that's the face of the company that's creating this. But who does that? I'm a small town. I got into my own head, never thinking that I could do makeup artistry here. So after I went to Vancouver, I went straight to Calgary. Again, in my head, thinking that I could not do makeup in a small town. So I moved to Calgary, and that's where I worked in cosmetic retailing for a couple years. And then we decided to move home. We actually had a silent miscarriage, which brought us home to Salmon Arm to get married and to have a family. And at that point, when we moved here back to Salmon Arm, we had the old Shoppers, which I did not want to work at. I went from managing what was then the largest boutique in Western Canada and the first one to have makeup forever to Salmon Arm Shoppers. And I was like, nope, not going to be where I want to go. So I kind of stepped out of makeup artistry and managed a travel agency for 6 years. So I still did makeup along the side, and once it just sort of snowballed, I did one makeup for a wedding, and then it snowballed to the point in 2013 that I was doing a wedding every single weekend, working full time and having a 2-year-old. And I had to and I was gonna buy the business. I was actually gonna buy the travel agency, and that was gonna be my thing. I've always wanted to own my own business. My dad had his own trucking company growing up, so I grew up in sort of that entrepreneurial lifestyle. And I always wanted to have my own company. In fact, I actually thought one day I would do it, like I would take over the trucking company. Yeah, right. No, yeah, I couldn't even. Anyways, so in 2013, I basically had my first mental breakdown, I would say, of really trying to decide the path that I want to take and really follow my own heart, because I knew that I had a gift in makeup artistry, and it would be a shame and a disservice for the world for me to be wasting it away behind a computer and not empowering women through makeup artistry like I knew that I could. So I took 6 months and really worked on my craft. And in 2014, November 2014, my best friend got married in Mexico. There was 50 of us on the trip. It was my last trip that I booked, and I ended up landing in Calgary as a full-time freelance makeup artist with no job. But I got an email actually when I landed saying that my work is going to be on the cover of Okanagan magazine. And I was like, okay, I know that I'm on to the right track. So working and hustling and networking, just that side of my business led me to clean beauty. So I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, whether it's good or it's bad. It's the journey that you're meant to be on, and it's switching your perspective of, oh, why did this happen to me, and it's happening for me. So when I got hired to do the first campaign for a company called Portia Ella, who at that time in 2016 they were opening their first flagship store in Winnipeg, and they hired me to do all their campaigns using the products that they supplied. And I never heard of clean beauty. I knew people were talking about vegan and cruelty free, but at that point, no one was really starting to like make it mainstream about the toxicity levels that are in and the how unregulated this industry is. Like, I didn't know. I picked Makeup Forever because I knew it worked. And I'm not the type of person to like get with the trends and purchase this product because everyone's talking about it. I like just stuff that works because I know it works, because it's expensive being a makeup artist. And I go into my first shoot thinking that these products were not going to hold up to my standards. That was going to make my job very difficult. But I fell in love with the integrity behind it. And they really did open my eyes to how crazy this industry is and how unregulated it is, and really voting with your dollar as well. So with getting into it, I realized also that there was some things that I knew that I could make better. If I had my own company, I knew that I could make a brand like the Makeup Forever of the clean beauty world, make it more mainstream, like something you would find in Sephora, because I found that my clients, they wanted clean, but they had the same apprehension that I had back then, that are these going to work for me? Branding's a little bit more granola side, more for those non-makeup makeup wearers. And people get tired of trying so many different products that don't work, so they go back to the mainstream because they know that it works. So I kind of had that thought in my head, again, who does that? Put it in the back of my mind. And then it just sort of through networking happened that I met my manufacturer in Manitoba. And I knew, I was like, I knew that if I built a line that I knew with my relationship with Portia Ella, that I'm like, I bet you they would carry it. I bet you that they would carry it, and I could make something like mainstream. I had a vision in it. And the name Mismack was actually a handle, like an internet handle that I needed back in the day. I can't even remember what for, but I remember thinking like, if I ever had my own cosmetics company, that's what it would be. So being also, who does that? Where do you start? How do you start? So I met with my manufacturer in Manitoba and showed her what I had for branding. Like, this is what I'm thinking. And I had my wish list of all the products, because essentially everything that I need to do a professional makeup application, I want in the Mismack line, right? Not knowing pricing, not knowing budget, not understanding any of it. I just dove right in. And I was like, this is what we're going to do. And one of the things that was on my list was glitter. And no word of lie, I was in Calgary on my way to my manufacturer when a viral video was going around about how glitter is classified as litter, and scientists are working hard to push a worldwide ban. This is in 2017. My heart sunk because I've used so much glitter for so many things. I had that like throw up feeling in my stomach. It's like, oh no. So we're talking with and then fast forward, I'm talking to my manufacturer. I'm like, and I want a glitter line. And she's like, yeah, hard no, you can't do that. But there has to be alternatives. Like, let me look into it and I'll get back to you. She sent me samples, and I fell in love. It was biodegradable glitter, and no one in Canada was offering at a cosmetic retail level a safe option, which I just couldn't believe. So I'm like, we have to be the first. We have to be the first. And there was such a hard push for me to get the glitters to the market that we pre-launched on Earth Day in 2018. So that was April 22nd, 2018, that Mismack is coming to be, before I even had packaging, because that's the other thing. So my products are made in Manitoba, but I need to source all the packaging for it. So I need to make sure that it's on par and everything's ethical and stable. And there's been a lot of packaging oopses, even before we went to market. And I knew the glitters were going to be the first one. So there was like a rush to get it. And in September 5th of 2018, we pre-launched with the 7 shades of biodegradable glitter and the Gaia Gloss, because it acts as the glitter primer. There's a funny story with that glitter primer as well that not a lot of people know of. Is it's kind of was an oops that it turned out to be the primer.
Wow.
I was planning on I actually have the bottle still in my office somewhere, and it was going to be actually a skin primer that had hyaluronic acid in it, because that's what I would use before as my glitter primer, was a skin gel that kind of makes the glitter stick. It puts a surface over it, and it has a nice adhere without it being cracky. And when we had one, or creating one, but with hyaluronic acid being at such a clean state, the pH level changes. And once that pH level changes, about after a month of it being open, it actually started to degrade the glitter instantly when you put it on the back of your hand. So, and it would stain. So like our Disco Days, it did not like our Disco Days glitter, and it would stain like a nicotine stain, like yellow.
Oh.
Like, okay, nope, can't have that. That's a hard no. So I was driving from Kelowna one day and I was just thinking like, how can we do? Because we have to have a primer with that glitter. And I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder if the gloss sample would work because of our proprietary ingredient that mimics the look and feel of silicone. It might just have that stable factor for us to use it as a glitter. It wouldn't be able to give us that coating, but it might adhere strong enough to work. And I was right. So that was fun, figuring that little puppy out and then learning how to market it too, because I'm a one-man show. I do all of the marketing. I'm the shipping now. I've done all of it. And trying to figure out the wording. Of course, I've had help along the way, and I'm so grateful for the help that I've had. But at the end of the day, it's my company, and I'm the one trying to figure this out and making sure that it works. So trying to market it properly, that people know that it's a multifunctional product, not just a lip gloss. So, and then when it launched, because like I said, there was such a rush to get those to the market that the Gaia Gloss lid, it's an eco-friendly plastic. And I didn't know that when you mix eco-friendly, like a hard eco-friendly plastic with a moisture product, it can kind of break down the plastic, so it can make it more sensitive. So if you overturn our Gaia Gloss lid, like we're so used to cranking on things, it will crack on you, like it will completely shatter. I remember getting the first, like we had pre-orders from Earth Day up until the 5th of September, and my girlfriend, bless her heart, was the first one, and of course she was the first one to get it, and 24 hours later she sends me a picture of this lid just completely busted, and I guess that would be my second breakdown of like, oh my god, we're gonna have to cancel, we're gonna have to recall everything. Like, this is such a, because I'm such a perfectionist, like, to be honest, I'm such a perfectionist when it comes to my makeup artistry and my name, that I was like, this is gonna be terrible. And then of course my husband jokes, Miss Crack, because people are gonna
Oh.
no, don't say that, because that could happen. People could associate me with being like the cracky package.
Oh no.
But luckily I have such a great support group, and they're like, no, it's fine. Like, we just have to educate people that you don't completely turn it, or we don't need to recall them. It's such an amazing product that the product speaks for itself, and blah, blah, blah. And so we had about 5 retailers at that time in September 2018. And I kind of forgot about this part that happened until a couple weeks ago, because we're talking about breakdowns. I can't remember if it was in a breakout room that we were doing or something. And we're doing all the launches in September, and I was in Winnipeg doing the one there with Portia Ella, and my girlfriend April with White Willow Photography, she does all of our photography for our campaigns, came with us for the shoot. She was on her way back to Nova Scotia. And I just remember just having like probably my 3rd breakdown in the Starbucks lineup, like completely can I handle this? Am I ready for this? Can I actually do this? Because when we launch with glitter is the hardest sale. Like, it's pretty and it makes everyone feel good, but people are scared to use it. And I get it, because it can be an intimidating product unless you're like that more of an advanced artist. And it was a hard sale. It didn't do as well as we thought it was going to do. And I realized, like, heavily, like, in that time in Winnipeg, that I need to get the rest of the line out, or else this is gonna be a dud.
Right.
Then having that, like, just breaking down, I couldn't even control. I remember the Starbucks guy looking at me like, are you okay? Like, just take my coffee and go. But interesting enough, I actually was interviewed on CBC Winnipeg during rush hour. They called me in for an interview. So it's like, okay, well, we're somehow making waves, even though it doesn't feel like it. And then I get back on the plane and realize like that this needs to be, we can't just do like the next product. Like, I was planning actually on launching like the lipsticks and then the eyeshadows and then the foundation with the blur, but it just didn't work that way with packaging. So, and also funding, right? Figuring out how to get a cash flow. And I'm very grateful for my father. I pretty much invested my inheritance into which he gets to see me build this. Well, he's still alive, which is great. But he gave me the funding to move forward with everything, which I'm incredibly grateful for. And then realizing all the delays, like, you don't know what you don't know until you do it, right? So going through packaging, right, and realizing, well, for one, overseas, because all of packaging is sourced from China. There's no way around that, unfortunately. And they shut down for a month, right, with their holiday in February. So there's that to realize, plus how long it takes for it to get overseas, plus if it gets stuck in customs. so I was dealing with all of that. So trying to plan it to be launched individual products, it just didn't work. And I literally got my stock because it got stuck in customs. I got my stock the day of our launch on May 10th of 2019 to launch the rest of the products, the Chandler Medi Spa. And I had a student that same week, and it was insane. And Leanna had come on board at that point just to help me, and she was in the office. I remember, and she's in the office. I can't remember what she was doing in here, and I come bursting in the door, and I'm like, "There's gonna be a day that we're gonna be like, we got through this, and we did." So Leanna took my course back in January 2019, and I wouldn't let her go. So she's been such a big help for the past year, and she does a lot of she does Makeup Tip Tuesdays and everything like that. And so speaking of failures too, there's one little part of the story that I think is so important to share is, so in January I did Shoe Shop Entrepreneur. Because going back at the launch, I am not a business person. I am a makeup artist. I'm very much a creative soul. I understand what people want and that type of thing, but in terms of the business back of the end, numbers and all that is not my jam. So I enrolled in Shoe Shop Entrepreneur, and I'm so grateful that I did. And realizing when I was ordering packaging for everything, and it was actually the finance night of everyone explaining how finances work and cash flow and everything like that, I had a major, oh shit, I fucked up, excuse my language, I fucked up greatly, and I overshot my packaging and was short $15,000 to get the rest of the line to market.
Oh, wow.
And at that point, I was like, I actually don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I be able to build this. At that point I didn't understand cash flow, but it came down to someone actually told me that I should have spent $50,000 on a vacation compared to packaging, and that kind of lit a fire under my ass and being like, no,
Yeah.
you don't know, like, you don't understand what I'm building, and I'm going to prove you wrong. So it kind of like, when you fail, and it's so important to sort of like sit in that failure and realize how you can grow from this. Because if you don't fail, you can't grow. If that didn't happen, I wouldn't be the strong person that I am today, building my company that I have today. Because it was very close to me losing it. It was almost to the point where I gave it up for something else. And I was like, no, this is my dream. No one else is going to build it for me. So it was that hard, and being like, okay, like it's all on me. It's all me. And here we go. We're gonna run, and we're gonna see where this goes. But I believe I'm gonna fail again. We know that. We don't know where or when that's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen. And now I'm like ready for it. Like, that just means that I'm gonna grow into something to the next level, right? So so that happened in January. I pitched live to a room of 300 people, Mismack, and I won.
Wow.
And so that was March 15th, 2019. I won, and that was able to help me get the rest of the line up and ready to go for May 10th. Awesome. So there was a lot of tears. There was a lot of stress. That's why I'm fully gray now. I haven't dyed my hair since Mismack came to me, but I'm gonna own it. I've earned every single gray hair that's on my head, and it's just, how much are you willing to fight for your dream? Because it's your dream. If no one's gonna talk about it, no one's gonna build it but you.
Yeah.
So, and it took me a long time to talk about it. Like, if you were to talk to me in January 2019, and in fact, I remember meeting Kathleen Seeley for the very first time, and it was the very first time I joined Women Who Wine, and everyone goes around in the circle and tells them who their business is, like what their business is and what they do. And I was so nervous to talk about Mismack that I was shaking. Like, my lips would shake, I quiver, I'm like kind of mousy sounding because I just didn't have that confidence because I didn't know what I was building. And also, it takes practice, right? It takes practice for you to get better at it. But I would shake, and I telling people what I was doing because I was afraid of failing, and I was afraid of what people would think if I did fail, and trying to build this, because it's like you're from a small town, you're a makeup artist, you have no business background. Like, like if you fail, it's like, well, I could see that coming. Kind of told you so, right? So,
Yeah.
and it took like pitching live, like that changed everything. Like I'm so grateful, and I will always be a huge supporter of She Shop Entrepreneur because it really pushed my business forward. And yeah, we launched on May 10th, and then June 11th, we were in LA in honor of the gift giving event, in honor of the MTV Movie Awards, which is the gift giving event. And we stole the show and got to meet like the Young and the Restless and the original Hulk. And randomly that night, we had the most random tour of Fox Studios, like a private tour. It was like the craziest story on our way back to our hotel. And yeah, and then what else happened? So and then Rachel Hollis came to Calgary, and she's helped me so much. I'm sure she's helped so many other people, but she's like the voice in my head to do better, especially in 2018. I'm like, she was my rock, and I really I needed her. She came into my life, well, came in, not like physically, but you know what I mean, at the most perfect timing, because she really did push me to be stronger. And I saw that she was coming to Calgary, and I was like, okay, I'm going to get myself VIP tickets, me and my girlfriend, and I'm going to somehow gift her Mismack just as a thank you. And I was like, hey, we're going to make this happen. I don't really know about Tony Robbins. Who cares about Tony Robbins? So I'm like, I'm here for Rachel Hollis. And so the beginning of the story is so funny. So we get in there. I didn't even think that there would be 8,000 people also in the room, probably having the exact same thinking. And the VIP people had lunch with the guests or with the speakers. And there's a little asterisk that says with the speakers. And you don't know what that asterisk means. So thinking, I didn't get in my head, I had a vision that we would all be at the same table and Rachel would just be across the right.
Sure,
across the
yeah.
right, and be like, this is for you, thank you so much. No, definitely not that. So as soon as the MC said we're going to break, Rachel Hollis is in the building for lunch, my girlfriend and I looked at each other, we got up and we ran to where the lunchroom was so we could get the first seating, and they're all up on the panel. So we get seating. I'm literally probably from here 60 feet away, not even 20 feet away, and all of them line up. And actually Molly Bloom was right across from me up on the panel, which is so cool. I didn't know who she was until she spoke, and she's amazing. I adore her dearly. And then the wrestle panel, and there's 2 seats left at the end, and that was empty. And you could feel the energy in the entire room because Rachel Hollis was missing. She was not there, and everyone's like, where's Rachel? We're here to see, I'm pretty sure half that room was there to see Rachel. It was so funny. And my fluttering, my heart was fluttering. I was shaking, and my gifts out on the table, and I brought extras, of course, and I'm shaking. So the MC goes around, he's like, hey, this is how it's going to work. It's going to be an open question. You're going to raise your hand, and I'm going to, if you get chosen, you get to open a question to the panel, and that's how you're going to be able to speak to them. This is a room of 800 people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know this guy. And I had no question. Mine went blank. And my girlfriend's like, this is your time. This is your time. So I'm just raising my hand. I'm raising it. I have no question. And some question came to me. It's like, okay. And I'm my makeup's done just how it is right now. So I got glitter on, and we're both looking fly, and I'm staring at him. And he goes across the other room, and I'm like, oh shit. And he comes back, and Lori's my best friend. She's like, just stand up and go give her one. Because she did end up coming in 2 minutes after the questions started. And everyone's like, okay, that's good. Rachel and Dave are there. And I keep my hand up, and he starts coming towards me because I'm like, no, I'm not going to stand up. We're going to be respectful. We're going to, this is not how I do things. I don't interrupt. And he comes to me, and my heart just I'm pretty sure I blanked out. And it was the first time of me in a room full of strangers. We had no idea where these people were from. Some people came from probably across Canada, and not from the States too. And I'm like, I'm Missy MacKintosh. I'm the founder, CEO of Mismack Clean Cosmetics. And at that point, I just blanked out. And I do remember turning to Rachel and being how much she's helped me so much to get to where I am today, for being the voice. I can't remember blah, 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 blah. I can't remember what I said. And I was like, in fact, I have a gift for you, right? It was a complete blank. And I was like, in fact, I have a gift for you that I would like to gift you. And they're like, oh, that's so great. And then again, went to where can we find you? And they're like, oh, what's your question? Because we kind of got distracted about Mismack. And I was like, oh, are you ever going to bring Rye's business to Canada? It was the most flat question that, and she's like, really? Out of all that, that's your question? And the kind of thing, and she's like, well, no, we have Rye's coming to Toronto, but And I was like, yeah, I know, but it's not the business side of things, right? We just being the business mind. So anyways, they took it and she got Mismack, which was very exciting. And then I ended up gifting Molly Bloom as
Oh,
well. I got to meet
awesome.
her and I followed up. I messaged her Instagram, and social media is a beautiful tool. I just sent her a message that night saying it was really great to meet you. We have an amazing picture together. And she's like, thank you, that's so sweet. She replied to me the next morning. And yeah,
Nice.
so that's also like, out of 8,000 people in her room, I was the only one that was able to get, like, to gift her. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool. And then, yeah, so that was in the summer, and then it's just been a whirlwind ever since.
That's
Really.
amazing.
Yeah, and now we've won an award. So
Yeah.
we're an award-winning company with the Clean Beauty Awards, or Art Shadows, which I'm so proud of. And yeah, I don't know what's next. I guess we're working on training. So we're working on the Mismack makeup artistry education courses.
So awesome. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for sharing all of that with us. I mean, that's from your beginning to where you are now and all the little bumps along the way.
Yeah.
And so I heard a few things that kind of came to mind. One is, yeah, you're scared out of your mind and you're doing it anyways.
Yeah.
And we're going to have breakdowns and we're going to have friends who help us get up from those breakdowns.
Yeah.
And we're going to have major setbacks when we think about giving up.
Absolutely.
I loved hearing also about how, you know, maybe sometimes it's the critics who drive us a little bit, because when we hear those voices of other people expressing those concerns about our ability to succeed, it drives us even harder to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it does. It really has for me, because I've had a few. Yeah.
Any other words of wisdom or encouragement you would give entrepreneurs who are starting out?
Yeah, I think words of encouragement that just keep going. Just keep going. Like, if this is your dream and you want it bad enough, you keep going and you find a way. Find a way. Google is an amazing tool. Your friends and being around someone who's further along their journey than you, because I think your network and the people that you surround yourself with can help you out big time.
Yeah, that's amazing. And even your story about having the courage to bring those gifts with you and to make sure that you got up there and you got that chance, even though you were heart fluttering and scared. I mean, that got you somewhere, right?
Yeah, it did. And then a week later, I'm driving and I'm like, I did not put a handwritten note in Rachel Hollis's gift. Like, out of all of that, I did not write her a special thank you. So actually, I reached out to her team and they were like, "That's so." And I told her this. I told them the story because it was my aunt who's like, "Have you like sent Rachel the story about your story?" And I was like, "No, I should." And I did. And yeah, and they were like, "Oh, that's great. We'll let Rachel know, and if you want to send more products down."
So I think we'll wrap up here. I really appreciate you sharing your story and just the honesty with which you come forward with everything that you have to offer. And I'm so inspired by you, and I'm grateful for you for sharing your story. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.